Hey guys, Dr. Ben here, Functional Medicine Centers. Excited to have you on the video today. We're going to go over polycystic ovarian syndrome, PCOS. Many of you have it, many of you women out there have it, many loved ones you know have it, your daughters, your moms, a lot of different people have PCOS, but we're going to get into the why and how that this is happening. This is a huge, huge part of the thought. Even when we start talking about functional medicine, it's about getting to the underlying why. And that's the great part with PCOS. If you get to the why, you can change this in as little as 1, 2, 3 months. People can have their PCOS reversed. They can start getting pregnant. Lots of amazing things can start changing. So, welcome. If you haven't already, like or follow our page, tons of information. We get lots of videos every single week out just like this one, all different types of topics, immune system, endocrine, thyroid, digestion, all types of different things. And if you're watching this video, go ahead and pop down below where you're watching from. Love to see where you guys are at, all over the country, all over the world. So, PCOS. Give me a thumbs up out there if you guys have heard of PCOS, if you've dealt with PCOS yourself, and if you've got some thoughts on that, go ahead and pop those questions down below. But PCOS, polycystic ovarian syndrome, is basically the thought when we have these ovaries that are usually releasing our eggs. Hey Marcy in Omaha there, these ovaries are releasing eggs out and then sperm come in, connect with the egg, and we reproduce and have babies and all those fun things. But what happens with PCOS is that the ovaries get lots of little, here's a regular ovary, and there might be a few of these versus the PCOS gets lots of these cysts in the ovaries, and it's going to actually become enlarged. And you can see this on ultrasound and some different scanning devices. Hey Julie, good to see you up there in Wyoming. Polycystic ovarian syndrome, we're producing multiple of these cysts, and ultimately it's going to lead to an inability to ovulate, inability to get pregnant. Very, very prevalent. Up to 20% of the women of childbearing years, so what's that, 16 all the way up to 45, up to 20% of them have PCOS. But here's the amazing part, is that half of those, 50% of the people that have PCOS don't even realize it, or they've been misdiagnosed. So if you're talking millions and millions of women that are being misdiagnosed and they're not being treated effectively for this. So let's go through some of the signs and symptoms of PCOS. If any of you guys have had PCOS, go ahead and pop down below. Let us know which of these signs and symptoms you have had and how prevalent, how intense they were. So for a lot of people, there are going to be some type of irregular period. So either you're skipping periods, maybe a scanty flow, just not a good regular period every 28, 30 days, just flowing like it's supposed to. So look for irregular periods. Large ovaries, or they have cysts. So on ultrasound, on scans, you would look for these large ovaries in there. Excess body hair. Women don't want to hear about this one, but chest, stomach, on their back, they've got excess body hair different places. You don't have to give me a thumbs up if that's you, but if it's you, you know that you have those. Belly weight gain, so around that abdomen, not just everywhere, but especially around that abdomen, that is a really good sign of PCOS. Abdominal belly fat. Acne, so if you are 32 and you're getting acne again, almost guaranteed you've got some type of PCOS, some type of hormone imbalance coming ultimately from insulin resistance that we're going to get into in a little bit here. So acne, male pattern baldness. So when you start getting baldness in that little V up in the forehead there, which women it happens to a lot, that male pattern baldness is going to be a sign of PCOS. Infertility, so if you're having a hard time getting pregnant, if it's taking you more than 3 to 6 months to get pregnant, it is very likely PCOS. Start here. Fatty liver, non-alcoholic fatty liver, you want to check your GGT, your liver is going to actually be enlarged. That's a huge sign that somebody may have PCOS. But remember, PCOS is not the problem, it's not the cause, it's the symptom. all these other things. Just like fatty liver is not the cause, is not the problem, it's the symptom. So that's what we're going to be looking at. Where are these problems, where are these symptoms coming from, and how can we ultimately change that? Depression, so a lot of women will be more depressed when they have PCOS. Skin tags, those little pieces of skin sticking out different places, armpits, on the chest, some of those different places. You don't have to give me a thumbs up if you have one of those. Dark or thick skin in your fold, so under the breast tissue, in the armpit, in the neck, there'll be dark or thick skin patches on there in those folds, and then ultimately decreased libido. So low sex drive is going to be another sign that somebody has PCOS. So I'd say if you have 4, 5, 6 of those symptoms, get checked out. It's a very good sign that you have some of these issues. So some of the things that you want to do and are going to be helpful for changing these patterns. I'm going to flip this around here so you're going to look at me the right way. There we go. So a couple things that we're looking at. Blood work is a huge part of figuring out if somebody has PCOS. Most of the time they just say, hey, let's do an ultrasound and see what's going on there. But looking at someone's blood work is a huge part of figuring out why somebody may have PCOS, why somebody's having all these other issues. So here's what you want to test for. And you want to test these non-fasting. So when you go to your doctor, or if you come in to see us, you are going to get non-fasting blood work. So you want to have eaten that day. So non-fasting, you're going to look at triglycerides is going to be a big one. You're going to look at insulin. And this is crucial because we know that insulin resistance is the #1 cause of all of these things. Hey there, Suzette. Good to see you in North Platte. You're going to look at hemoglobin A1C. So insulin, you don't want that over 10. Triglycerides, you don't want that over 100. A1C, you'll see this 2 things. You'll either see it almost perfect at 5.2, or you'll see it at like 5.5 to 5.8, like a pre-diabetes, or you'll see that the A1C is averaging perfect, but it's going up and it's crashing down, spiking up, crashing down. So the average is okay, but the swings are really extreme. So we've got that A1C. We're going to be looking at GGT. GGT tells us about fatty liver. We don't want that one over 20. So make sure you're having your doctor run GGT to see if you've got that fatty liver. Testosterone, this is crucial because this is why women start getting that male pattern baldness, they start getting chin hairs, all those different things. So you got to check your testosterone. And then you want to look at SHBG, sex hormone binding globulin. Hey Tamara, good to see you. So sex hormone binding globulin is the bus, and that bus, SHBG, that grabs a hold of testosterone and transports it around the body. So one of the things that happens when we start getting what's called insulin resistance, hey Tamara, good to see you there. When we start getting insulin resistance, we're going to increase our testosterone and we're going to decrease our sex hormone binding globulin. So we have more testosterone floating around. So that's why you're getting those chin hairs, getting all those issues through there, but you're not going to be able to transport it around the body. So what values for testosterone? So we'll see that testosterone start to go really kind of that 50 plus, maybe even 40 plus. But you know, I'd say depends on a couple other factors, but if it's over 40 and there's some other issues, hey Hilda, good to see you. If it's over 40 and there's other issues, but definitely if it's over 50 and you're seeing the chin hairs and a lot of those things, that's going to be definitely your main, that testosterone. So let's go here. And I can put those numbers down again later if you guys want those, just ask. So what happens, we get insulin resistance. So we have our cell, and on that cell, we have a receptor. And you're welcome, Gail. And that receptor is to insulin. So insulin grabs a hold of glucose. It's produced from the pancreas, and it's kicked out when we get excess glucose. So when you eat and it needs to pull glucose into that bloodstream, we're going to secrete insulin. Insulin gets kicked up from the pancreas, it grabs a hold of glucose, it goes into that receptor in the cell, glucose goes into the cell, and we make energy. So that's cellular respiration, that's ATP, mitochondria, all these different things. Good to see you, Suzette. Glad you're getting some value out of this. So we're bringing this glucose in to ultimately make energy. But what happens if over the years we start doing this up and down, up and down, up and down with our blood sugar? So people, when they're teenagers, they're eating mac and cheese, and they're eating bagels and cookies and chips, and just grabbing whatever that is not keeping that blood sugar steady. They're going to go up and down, up and down, up and down, and ultimately we start blocking this insulin receptor. And that is what's called insulin resistance. Insulin resistance is where you're not going to respond to the insulin appropriately. It's like that keyhole is all gummed up, and you're sitting there and you're playing and jimmying that key, and then ultimately we get more insulin produced. Insulin in and of itself is great. We need insulin, but insulin in excess is very problematic. And that's what we're seeing here, is that this insulin in excess, that's what's going to lead to testosterone globulin. It's going to a lot of different things in the body. It'll cause us to gain weight. All times that we've got to ultimately keep this blood sugar as steady as possible. And that's a huge part of fixing PCOS, is reversing this insulin resistance, getting your blood sugar steady, and then ultimately the body will start repairing. We've got to do some nutritional support to clear out the testosterone, make sure the liver's working like it should, all these different things. So here's the problem. When somebody has PCOS, we know that ultimately if they stay on that same path, they will get type 2 diabetes, they will get cancer, they will get high blood pressure, they will get heart disease, and there was research just come out that COVID, like 50% greater rates of COVID with this as well. And the reason for that, and the reason that women that have PCOS have higher rates of COVID, is because just like looking at all those pre-existing factors for COVID, heart disease, insulin resistance, blood pressure, blood sugar issues, all those things, that's a huge part of what's going on that's leading to PCOS. Remember, PCOS is not the problem. What we're going to do, what we're seeing is that PCOS is the symptom of ill health. So that's what we've got to do. So ultimately, that insulin, and I saw your question there, Gail, ultimately what happens is that insulin in excess is going to lead to excess testosterone. It's going to lead to those cysts on the ovaries, and it's going to lead to an ovulatory issue in the body, meaning it's not going to ovulate. So this is how the insulin in excess is going to drive all of these issues for women. Hey Cindy, good to see you there. So insulin resistance is the key. So when we're talking metabolic syndrome, that's what we're talking about. Insulin resistance, your blood sugar is all over the place, ultimately driving this inflammatory process and getting this insulin up to that upper level. So, great question there. What can you do about this? What can someone do about PCOS, and how can we balance this out? So, the number one thing you have to do is stabilize your blood sugar. And I like that 85 to 110. So you can use something like this, continuous glucose monitor. You can use a finger prick to figure it out, but you've got to stay between that 85 and 110 all day long. It may take some people a little bit longer than others, but you've got to get that blood sugar stabilized. We know we've got to do work on the liver. The liver is going to be a huge part of processing out the testosterone and some of these different hormones. So we've got to stabilize that liver and get it clearing out like it needs to, start reversing that fatty liver. Number 3, sleep is a huge part of it. We know that people that are not sleeping well are going to have worse blood sugar imbalances, a lot of different things through there. So you've got to get that sleep as consistent as you possibly can. And exercise is going to be the other piece. We want to do enough, but not too much, and we have to do enough but not too little. So what happens with most people with exercise is they're either not doing enough or they're doing way too much. They're not doing in that good amount. So like this morning, I did some handstand push-ups upside down against the wall, and then run for 300 meters, and then do wall balls, and do that a couple times for maybe 15 minutes or so. And that was my workout. I tracked my heart rate, made sure it didn't get up too high, made sure that I went long enough, that it did get high enough, and that was a huge part of my exercise for the day. So we've got to stabilize our blood sugar. If that's all people did in this world was to stabilize their blood sugar 85 to 110, we would reverse and prevent 90% of chronic conditions out there. So this would save the world trillions of dollars if we would all just stabilize our blood sugar, work on the liver, work on sleep, and get that proper exercise. So if you guys have questions at all about PCOS, pop them down below. We watch this all the time, so keep your eyes on it and let us know what other questions you have. But this is huge. 20% of women of childbearing years have PCOS. Half of those have no idea that they have it. The other half are being mistreated, meaning they are giving them birth control. They're giving them metformin, a diabetes drug. So Jenna, just shoot us a message, and we direct message, and we can get you in touch with getting one of those. Gail, milk thistle to support the liver. That's going to be a good place to start. Julie, love having you on. Great to see you again. So here's the deal. Way too many women have PCOS. Way too many women are being misdiagnosed. Way too many women are being treated inappropriately. Metformin, I see 110-pound women with that are 18-year-old, 110-pound women that are being given metformin, and metformin is a diabetes drug, and yet they know there's such a connection between it, but they don't know what to do. So love having you guys on. And yep, there's Marcy. I'm on all of those: metformin, high blood pressure meds, birth control. Marcy, 3 months. You can be off all those. You can reverse that. You've got this. You've got the ability to heal inside of you. I know that. If you need help, reach out. We work with tons of people from Nebraska all the time. We'd love to help you out. This is a passion of mine because it's so undertreated, and people can change, people can heal. We can see that all the time. So guys, love having you on. Stay strong out there. Do what you've got to do to fix these different systems. If you need help, we're here for you. Check our other videos, and if you need more help, then give us a call and we'll work with you one-on-one. Take care, guys. Make it a great day.